I'll never forget the moment I realized my best friend at work had stabbed me in the back. It was a Tuesday morning. I walked into the office, coffee in hand, ready to hear about the promotion I'd been working toward for 2 years. My manager, David, called me into his office. I thought this was it, the moment I'd been waiting for. But when I sat down, David wouldn't look me in the eyes. "Marcus," he said slowly, "I know you've been expecting news about the senior project manager position." I nodded, my heart racing. "Well, we've decided to go in a different direction. Jennifer Chen will be taking the role." Jennifer? My co-worker. The woman I'd trained? The woman I'd helped on every single project for the past 18 months. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. I don't understand," I said. "The Peterson account, the Miller expansion, the Henderson merger, those were all my projects." David shifted uncomfortably. "Actually, Marcus, Jennifer presented those projects to the executives. She demonstrated exceptional leadership and strategic thinking. The board was really impressed with her vision." My vision, my strategies, my late nights and weekends, all credited to Jennifer. I walked out of that office in a daze, and that's when I saw her, Jennifer, standing by the water cooler, smiling at me. Not a guilty smile, not an apologetic smile, a triumphant smile. She'd planned this, and she thought she'd gotten away with it. But what Jennifer didn't know was that I keep records of everything, and I mean everything. What happened next would change both of our careers forever. Let me take you back to how this all started. 6 months before that devastating Tuesday, I was genuinely excited about my job at Hartman & Associates, a mid-sized marketing firm in downtown Chicago. I'd been there for 4 years, climbing from an entry-level coordinator to project manager. The culture at Hartman was typical American corporate. Everyone talked about synergy and thinking outside the box, but really, it was about who could take credit for success and avoid blame for failure. I was good at my job, really good. I brought in major clients, exceeded targets, and my team actually liked working with me. But I'll admit I wasn't great at office politics. I focused on the work, not the schmoozing. That's where Jennifer came in. She joined our team in March as a junior project manager. She was friendly, enthusiastic, and seemed genuinely eager to learn. She had this way of making you feel like you were the most interesting person in the room when she talked to you. "Marcus, you're so talented," Jennifer said to me during her first week. "I hope I can be half as good as you someday. Would you mind if I shadowed you on a few projects? I really want to learn from the best." What kind of person says no to that? So I said yes. I brought her into meetings with clients. I showed her my presentation templates, my project management systems, my client relationship strategies. I even introduced her to executives I'd built relationships with over years. My colleague Tom Richardson tried to warn me. "Marcus, be careful with her," Tom told me one day at lunch. "I've seen this before. She's a little too interested in your methods, man." I laughed it off. "Come on, Tom. Not everyone's out to get you. She's just trying to learn." Tom shook his head. "Just saying, keep your guard up. Office politics in America is cutthroat. Nice guys finish last." I should have listened to Tom. The Peterson account was the big one, a Fortune 500 company looking to rebrand their entire product line. Landing them would mean millions in revenue for Hartman and Associates. I spent 3 months developing the pitch. Late nights, early mornings, weekends. I barely saw my girlfriend, Sarah. But I was determined. This account would secure my promotion to senior project manager. Jennifer was assigned to assist me. She sat in on my brainstorming sessions, took notes during my client calls, and reviewed my presentation drafts. "This is genius, Marcus," she said after I showed her my final pitch deck. "The way you've tied their brand values to consumer psychology trends. It's perfect." I smiled. "Thanks, Jennifer. I'm hoping it's enough to win them over." "It will be," she said confidently. "You've got this." The pitch meeting was scheduled for a Friday in June. But on Thursday night, I got a call that changed everything. My mom had a stroke. I was at the hospital within an hour. The doctor said she'd be okay, but she needed surgery the next morning. There was no way I could make the pitch meeting. I called David at 11 p.m. "David, I'm so sorry, but there's a family emergency. My mom's in the hospital. I can't make the Peterson meeting tomorrow." There was a long pause on the other end. "Marcus, this is really bad timing. Peterson's CEO is flying in specifically for this meeting. We can't reschedule." I know, I said, my voice cracking. "Can someone else present? Jennifer knows the pitch inside and out. She can do it." Another pause. "All right," David said finally. "I'll have Jennifer present. But Marcus, this better be serious." "It is, I promise." My mom's surgery went well. She was going to make a full recovery. But while I was sitting in that hospital waiting room holding her hand, something was happening back at the office. Jennifer was delivering my pitch, using my slides, my research, my strategies. And according to what I heard later, she was brilliant. Peterson signed with us on the spot. A $4.2 million contract. When I came back to work on Monday, everyone was congratulating Jennifer. "Incredible work, Jennifer. That pitch was phenomenal. You really saved the day." I walked over to her desk. "Hey, congratulations on closing Peterson," I said. "I heard it went great." Jennifer looked up and smiled. "Oh, Marcus, I'm so glad your mom's okay. And yes, the meeting went really well. I think your foundation work really helped set things up." Foundation work? Like I'd just done some preliminary research. "Did you mention that it was my pitch?" I asked carefully. "Of course," she said a little too enthusiastically. "I told them you'd done a lot of the groundwork. Everyone knows you were involved." But that's not what I heard from Tom later. "Marcus, I was in that meeting," Tom told me quietly during lunch. "Jennifer presented it like it was entirely her work. She didn't mention your name once, not once." I felt anger rising in my chest, but I pushed it down. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe in the excitement of the moment, she forgot to give credit. I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt. Big mistake. Over the next 4 months, I started to notice a pattern. The Miller expansion project, my idea, my client relationship, my strategy, was suddenly being referred to as Jennifer's Miller project in executive meetings. The Henderson merger consultation, where I'd spent weeks analyzing financial data and market positioning, was presented to the board by Jennifer. She took full credit. Every time I confronted her, she had an explanation. "Oh, Marcus, I thought I mentioned you in the email," she said once. "I definitely said this was a team effort," she insisted another time. "I'm sure everyone knows you were involved," she claimed repeatedly. But they didn't. To the executives, to the board, to our CEO, Jennifer Chen was the rising star. Marcus Donovan was just there. My performance reviews were still good, but they weren't great anymore. The comments were things like solid contributor and reliable team player, not innovative leader or strategic thinker. Those descriptions were now reserved for Jennifer. Sarah noticed I was becoming bitter. "Marcus, you need to document this," she said one night over dinner. "Keep records, emails, timestamps, project files, everything." "That feels paranoid," I said. "It's not paranoia if someone's actually stealing your work," Sarah replied. "This is corporate America, babe. You need to protect yourself." So I started keeping records. I began forwarding myself copies of every email, every project plan, every client communication. I saved drafts with timestamps. I kept a detailed log of every meeting, every contribution, every idea. I didn't know it yet, but this documentation would become my nuclear weapon. Then came the announcement about the senior project manager position. It was posted internally in late October. The job description might as well have had my name on it. It listed every skill I'd developed, every achievement I'd accomplished over 4 years. I applied immediately, so did Jennifer. Over the next 6 weeks, we both went through the interview process. 3 rounds with different executives, a presentation to the board, a written strategy proposal. I felt confident. I'd been at Hartman twice as long as Jennifer. I had more experience, more client relationships, more successful projects under my belt. But I hadn't accounted for one thing. Jennifer had been building relationships with executives for months, taking credit for my work while doing it. To them, she was the one who'd landed Peterson. She was the one who'd expanded Miller. She was the strategic genius behind Henderson. I was just the guy who helped. And that brings us back to that Tuesday morning in December. Jennifer Chen will be taking the role, David said. I sat there in shock for a moment. Then I asked, "Can I ask why?" David looked uncomfortable. The executive team felt that Jennifer demonstrated more strategic initiative and leadership. Her track record over the past 6 months has been exceptional. Her track record, my work. I see, I said quietly. Thank you for letting me know. I stood up and walked out, my mind racing. I passed Jennifer at the water cooler. That triumphant smile on her face told me everything I needed to know. She'd orchestrated this every step of the way. I went back to my desk and sat down. Tom rolled his chair over. I heard, he said quietly. I'm sorry, man. She stole everything from me, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Every project, every idea. And now she's got my promotion. Tom leaned in closer. So what are you going to do about it? That's when something clicked in my mind. All those emails I'd saved, all those timestamps, all that documentation Sarah had insisted I keep. I'm going to expose her, I said, but I need to be smart about it. I can't just go to HR with complaints. I need proof, undeniable proof. What kind of proof? Tom asked. The kind that shows a clear pattern, I said. I need to demonstrate that she systematically took credit for my work across multiple projects. I need dates, communications, witnesses. Tom nodded slowly. I'll help you. I was in a lot of those meetings. I saw what she did. Over the next 3 weeks, I built my case. I compiled every email thread showing my original ideas and strategies, followed by Jennifer's presentations of those same ideas to executives without attribution. I pulled metadata from files showing I'd created presentations days or weeks before Jennifer presented them. I gathered testimony from Tom and 2 other colleagues who'd witnessed Jennifer taking credit for my work in meetings. I documented every instance where I'd trained Jennifer, shared strategies with her, or given her access to my client relationships, followed by her using that information without crediting me. The evidence was damning. It showed a 6-month pattern of intellectual theft and career sabotage, but I needed the right moment to present it. Going to HR would be a mistake. They'd likely try to mediate quietly, and Jennifer would just come up with excuses. I needed to present this to someone who could actually do something about it. The quarterly board meeting. Hartman's board met every quarter to review company performance and strategic direction. The CEO, CFO, and all senior leadership attended. It was the highest level of visibility I could get, and I had access. As a project manager, I'd been asked to prepare a report on client retention for the meeting. It was a small slot, just 15 minutes, but it would put me in that room with everyone who mattered. I prepared 2 presentations. The first was my client retention report, professional, data-driven, exactly what they expected. The second was my evidence against Jennifer. The night before the board meeting, Sarah asked me, "Are you sure about this?" Once you do it, there's no going back. I'm sure, I said. She destroyed my career. She took credit for years of my work, If I don't stop her now, she'll do it to someone else. Just be careful, Sarah said. Make it about the facts, not emotions. Let the evidence speak for itself. The board meeting was on a Thursday morning in January. I arrived early, my laptop loaded with both presentations. My hands were shaking slightly, but my resolve was solid. The meeting started at 9 a.m. Various executives gave their reports: financial performance, market analysis, strategic initiatives. Jennifer presented an update on her major accounts, smiling confidently as she talked about Peterson and Miller. I sat there waiting for my slot, watching her bask in stolen glory. Finally, at 10:45, the CEO, Robert Hartman, said, "And now we'll hear from Marcus Donovan on client retention." I stood up, connected my laptop to the projector, and took a deep breath. "Thank you, Mr. Hartman," I said. "Before I present on client retention, I need to address a serious issue that has come to my attention. It involves integrity, attribution of work, and the accuracy of information this board has been receiving." The room went silent. I could feel Jennifer's eyes on me, but I didn't look at her. Robert Hartman frowned. "Marcus, this is highly irregular." "I understand, sir," I said. "But what I'm about to show you is critical to the leadership decisions this company is making." I clicked to my first slide. It showed side-by-side emails, one from me to Jennifer explaining my strategy for the Peterson account, dated March 15th. Next to it, an email from Jennifer to executives presenting that same strategy as her own on June 2nd. "This is the Peterson account," I said, my voice steady. "The account that Jennifer presented 3 weeks ago as her breakthrough achievement. Here's my original strategy document, created March 12th, 3 months before the pitch meeting." I clicked through more slides, each one showing clear evidence of my authorship, followed by Jennifer's presentation without credit. The Miller expansion. My proposal, dated April 3rd. Jennifer's presentation to the board, May 20th, with no attribution. The Henderson merger analysis. My research and strategy, May through July. Jennifer's board presentation, August 10th, claiming full credit. The room was dead silent. Every executive was staring at the screen. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see Jennifer had gone pale. "Over the past 6 months," I continued, "there has been a systematic pattern of my work being presented by another team member as her own. I have extensive documentation, emails, file metadata, witness statements, all of which I'm providing to the board today." I pulled up a timeline showing every instance, color-coded and cross-referenced. "I'm not here to complain," I said, looking directly at Robert Hartman. "I'm here because this board just promoted someone to senior project manager based on accomplishments that weren't hers. That's not just unfair to me, it's a failure of due diligence that could harm this company." David, my manager, looked like he wanted to disappear under the table. Jennifer was staring at her hands, her confident demeanor completely shattered. Robert Hartman leaned forward. "Jennifer, do you have a response to these allegations?" Jennifer looked up, her voice shaky. I did acknowledge Marcus's contributions. I always said it was teamwork." "Show me where," I said, pulling up another slide. "Here are the meeting minutes from every executive presentation you gave. Here are your email summaries to leadership. Where exactly did you acknowledge my contributions?" She couldn't answer. Because there was no acknowledgement. Anywhere. Tom spoke up from his seat. "Mr. Hartman, if I may, I was present in several of these meetings. Marcus's characterization is accurate. Jennifer presented this work as solely her own." Another colleague, Linda Martinez, added, "I can confirm the same. I worked with Marcus on the Miller expansion and watched Jennifer present it to executives without mentioning his involvement." The CEO's face had gone from confused to angry. He looked at David. "How did you not know about this?" David stammered, I thought Jennifer was collaborating with Marcus. I didn't realize." You didn't realize because you didn't check, Robert Hartman said coldly. He turned back to me. Marcus, send all of your documentation to HR and to my office immediately. We'll be conducting a full review. Then he looked at Jennifer. Ms. Chen, you're suspended pending investigation. Clear out your desk today. Jennifer's face crumpled. Mr. Hartman, please, I can explain. You'll have a chance to explain to HR, he said. This meeting is adjourned. The next 2 weeks were intense. HR conducted interviews with everyone on our team. They reviewed every document I'd provided. They brought in an outside consultant to verify file metadata and timeline accuracy. The evidence was overwhelming. Jennifer was terminated for cause on February 1st. The company decided not to pursue legal action, but it was clear her reputation in the industry was destroyed. My promotion? It was offered to me 2 days later. Marcus, I owe you an apology, Robert Hartman said when he called me into his office. We failed you. We should have done better due diligence. I hope you'll accept this promotion and help us rebuild the integrity of this team. I accepted. Not just for the title or the money, but because I'd earned it. I'd proven that truth and documentation could overcome manipulation and theft. Tom brought champagne to my apartment that night to celebrate. You did it, man, he said, raising his glass. You took her down. I didn't take her down, I said. She took herself down. I just made sure everyone saw it. Sarah hugged me. I'm proud of you. You could have just accepted it and moved on. But you stood up for yourself. Looking back now, 6 months later, I've learned some important lessons. First, document everything. In corporate America, your work is only as valuable as your ability to prove it's yours. Keep emails, save drafts, maintain records. It feels paranoid until the day it saves your career. Second, trust your instincts. Tom warned me about Jennifer from the beginning. I ignored him because I wanted to believe the best in people. Sometimes people really are out for themselves. Third, kindness shouldn't mean being a doormat. I helped Jennifer because I genuinely wanted to mentor someone. But there's a difference between teaching someone and giving them ammunition to destroy you. And finally, the truth matters. It would have been easy to just accept the rejection, stay bitter, and eventually leave the company. But I chose to fight for the truth, and that made all the difference. Jennifer taught me a valuable lesson, though I doubt she intended to. In the end, stolen glory is fragile. It crumbles the moment someone shines a light on it. Real achievement, built on your own work and integrity, is unshakable. And that's something no one can ever steal from you. As I sit in my new office now with Senior Project Manager on my door, I sometimes think about what would have happened if I hadn't kept those records, if I hadn't documented everything, if I just let it go. Jennifer would be sitting in this office instead of me. She'd probably be stealing credit from someone else by now, climbing higher on a ladder built from other people's work. But I did keep records. I did stand up. I did fight back. And sometimes, in corporate America, the good guy actually wins. Not because the system protects you, but because you protect yourself. If this story touched your heart, please make sure to like the video. This small click supports us a lot. Now tell us in the comments, have you ever seen someone move ahead by stealing someone else's work? And if you want to hear more powerful stories based on real life, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Because the next story might be even more shocking.